then, and number one now.
You're listening to Heffron and Reep.
Heffron and Reep.
Rated #1 podcast by the World Podcasting Federation and the Podcast Ranking Association. No, for reals. It says it right here.
The Heffron and Reep Show.
Hello, everybody. This is Jon Heffron. Heffron. It's Heffron. It's Heffron. It's not Heffron. It's Heffron. Jon Reep is currently shoveling snow out of whatever airport he's stuck at. He's stuck at an airport. Couldn't get back because some snow fell in his area of the world. So that was probably like a half of an inch. So they just locked it up. They're like, shut it all down. Everything's shut down. It's below 50. So he could not make it to the show. However, if you're watching this going, John, what, I can't listen to you nasally. You stammer when you talk. I can't listen to you. If you'd like to see Jon Reep, he is on Steve Burns' podcast right now. Interesting. Snowed in for Heffron and Reep, but yet tonight you could see him on Steve Burns' podcast. I forgot what Steve Burns' podcast is. Steve Burns has a comic friend. He has a new podcast every week and with different names. So I can't plug it because I don't know it. Something about a pinata. But anyway, Jon Reep, because we have a thing if the other person can't be here, where we talk about the other person. So listen to this. If you want to see Jon Reep, he is performing January 21st through the 22nd at the Comedy Loft, which is in Washington, D.C. That's January 21st through the 22nd. Jon Reep is at the Comedy Loft. Guess what? Last weekend of this month, is that the same time? I don't know. Jon Heffron is at Comedy Works in Denver. So if you're in Washington, D.C., the end of January 21st through the 22nd, you can go see Jon Reep. If you're in Denver, not downtown, the other place, like where this, like the older people live, that's where I will be. The Tech Center, what is it? I'm at Comedy Works. So also, because Jon Reep's agent books him. Oh, and I see a lot of Funny Bone dates. That's something different between me and Jon Reep. One of us used to perform at Funny Bones all the time. Another one gets booked there all the time. February 4th through the 5th, Jon Reep is in Albany at the Funny Bone. Then he goes over to Kansas City Improv. Man, I used to be in tight with all these guys. I'm nothing. How am I going to eat shitty chicken tenders in a shitty green room if I'm not getting booked at these places? February 18th through the 19th, Reep is in Richmond, Virginia at the Funny Bone. Probably one of those little fake cities. They got a lot of clubs there in the fake cities. Richmond, Virginia. Go to jonreep.com for tour dates. Also, we have a guest, though. You should be really excited because I know you don't want to listen to my dumbass. I would like to bring on a guest. He's a really good friend of mine. I was reading his website because I haven't updated my website since 1994. Like to bring up a very, very funny comedian, friend of mine, as I'm reading he's got a keynote speaker thing. That's where you can tell what comics are good, is because they kind of like take it to the next level in corporates and stuff like that. And I was going to read about, hold on, let me tell you this. Okay. Greg Warren is the guy we're going to have. Using humor to overcome failure is his keynote. I'm going to talk to him about that because I always wanted to write a keynote, but I could never figure out the subject. Greg shares stories of, it switched. Greg, let's talk about your website because I tried to read it and Greg shares stories of overcoming setbacks as a West Point cadet, a Denny's busboy, a college wrestler, and a Pringles salesman. That's what he talks about in his keynote. Already, there's 3 things I'm crazy interested about. And you can also go to gregwarrencomedy.com. You see all the funny bones he's probably performing at. All right, let's bring our guest on, Alan. If we could, let's bring on Mr. Greg Warren. It's Greg Warren.
John, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you? You know what? When I was doing all Reep's dates, I didn't mean to come across shitty. I was just trying to be funny. And then I think there's a little bit of just oomph in my voice when I saw those dates. When I used to do them 30 years of my life once a year. No, nothing, Greg.
I don't believe that for a second, man. I don't believe
I'm just to start you off like this. I got these cards. The second we have a guest on, just random.
Okay. Hey, if you don't mind me saying, by the way, the sort of special effects of the website are unparalleled.
Yours?
Yeah, just the stuff that not the website, the podcast, just all the video stuff, the little bumper
from the beginning.
Yeah, I love it, man. Or just when they brought me in, I don't know if you heard it or saw it. It's like kind of like Tron 80s type music. I love it, man.
That's the feel. Like when you don't have content, you do it like with fluff. Like did you ever do NACA showcases?
Yeah, I did them
like 100 years, like well, not 100 years ago, but
I did, and I know colleges ever wanted to book me, man. I think. Well, I think maybe I got into it a little too old or something. But
NACA showcases were where you'd go to perform, and then all the student union people go to these conferences, and they were, this was 20 years ago, and they'd watch you perform, and then when you got done, you would go and you would sit in a booth. So your college agent would had like these little booths. And there was nothing but like, it was almost like you're at the red light district in Amsterdam. I've seen like where you might as well just be dancing in a window. And the college kids would walk by, and if they saw you perform, they'd go up and they would book you. And then you'd put if you got a booking, you would like stick a Post-it note thingy on your wall. So you'd walk by and see all these comics that have like all these dates. But it was funny because the running joke was the more candy your agent had in your booth, the shittier you were as a comic.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the more freebies and stuff. And you'd have to stand there. So you'd perform, and then you'd have to stand there, and then when the kids would walk by, you'd have to like talk to them, and they're like, "Where are you? I'm from Mid America Nazarene College of I'm from McCook, Nebraska Community College. We're excited that you're performing at our Rathskeller." It's almost like Rathskeller or Pitt.
If anybody ever had that on film of me talking to those kids and released it, to be like, "You are the biggest phony I have ever seen and listened to you." It was just terrible acting, but terribly interested in all this stuff they're telling me. You're having the same conversation 500 times, and I'm just, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And your agents just
tell me
those
more.
Guys are doing, and you got one of those balloons, like used car salesman balloons floating in front of you. But here's how life is weird. And you do, by the way, this getup I have with my hat backwards and these big old read glass, I feel like from Sandlot forever.
Oh yeah. Squints, right?
Squints, yeah. Forever. Yeah.
Forever. Yeah.
So they have these places in Florida. And by the way, if you're watching live, we'll like the general rule is first we start to slow dance, and then and then it gets up to eventually we look at your comments. So just know we will talk about. But in Florida, there's these places called the Villages where all the retired people move to.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
And each one, I mean, it's like a whole different world down there. But there's all these theaters. And I guess there's a huge comedy tour thing you can do at all these theaters down in Florida. But there's one guy that books them. And I was joking with my manager going, well, when am I going to do the Villages? Because it's kind of like not your
Beginning of
last
the end.
act,
Yeah.
right? But you're not right. You've switched it from second show Friday at 10 to a 3:00 Saturday.
Yeah.
But that sounds awesome to me.
Oh yeah.
He goes, well, the book in a year or two out, right? And I'm like, well, I'm just at that cusp. I think I just got to get a little older, and then pretty soon, all my age group will be back. We'll be living there. And now I've just done my NACA because I was doing 100 colleges a year, 150 a year in my youth. So I'm like, now I just went full circle, right? And I could just go, he goes, well, there's a showcase that you have to do for the villages. And I'm like, it's a NACA showcase, but for people in their 60s? He's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Wow.
Is there a booth? See how it never ends, dude. It just be content where you are.
I'm already sending messages right now to my agent.
Yeah, you can work on it. We have time. Yeah. We can work on we'll get Reep, like a 3-person show.
Yeah.
We'll just do some type of vaudeville. I don't know. It's going to be people our age. So we wouldn't be performing for 70-year-olds now. It'll be our age. So we just throw some 80s music and we can do it.
Yeah, I'm in.
Sing a song, or just why don't you sing a song? Perform a song you would include on a road trip playlist. What's the first one? Greg Warren. Go to gregwarrencomedy.com.
It's probably something off the Vision Quest soundtrack.
Okay. So today,
Hot Blooded.
Hot Blooded. That is song. Hot Blooded is Vision Quest. That is track 3 of Vision Quest.
You know that off your?
No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th.
Okay. Well, there's some pretty good tunes on there. I mean, Madonna's got a song on there.
Can you hear this?
Yes.
Okay. This is how the Vision Quest.
That's John Waits, I believe, right there.
Yeah. And then it jumps into this. Not my favorite, but this is like when you're jumping rope or whatever. You just this head get past it. And then it goes, a little hungry for heaven. Just makes you. Yeah. It makes you want to. That song makes you want to, let's go back to it. I don't want to play too much and get in trouble. But this just makes me want to be like a room service guy that just wants to bring food up to another gentleman who's selling shoes. And he just wants to tell me about Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Right?
Guy put a move on Loudon, didn't he?
Right? And then, of course, the greatest song, See You on the Other Side. So maybe the greatest song in the history of the world. I was thinking about this today because I was working out to this. Now, I worked out for the first time in like a year, but Lunatic Fringe. So Milford High School, when I was in high school, would come out to that. All the lights would come down in the gym. The lights would play. They'd all come out. They'd all run around you and then do side steps and do whatever. And I just remember just being in the middle. I was so intimidated as a wrestler.
Yeah.
I was so good in practice. Anybody who would challenge me for varsity or whatever, I would smoke. I would literally, it wasn't even a thing. But when I would go out there and actually wrestle, I just, you put a red piece of tape on the ground and a green piece of tape on the ground, I will literally have a panic attack if I just see those see those two discolors, right? Like I'd go, and the second I would shake their hand, I was like, this kid won. And it's still to this day, as a almost 52-year-old man.
I think it's the scale that gives me the panic attack. I stopped getting on scales pretty much the day I got done with wrestling in college. I'd probably been on them maybe a half a dozen times in. But when I go to the doctor, there's always that thing like, you got to get on the scale. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
You're like, I need a sauna suit and
yeah.
When you put it on, where did you wrestle in college? I know I should have read your intro, but
at Missouri, University of Missouri, yeah.
So,
my first year I went to the military academy, but I was a quitter, John. I only lasted a year at the military academy. But,
right, that's okay. Look how you turned out. Do you think I think about my wrestling days all the time, and I've told this story on the podcast before, but no one cares. People just want to listen to Reep, who, by the way, has his own podcast. People, that's why I talk more than John when he's here, because he has a full podcast called Country-ish, where he talks the entire time. Then he comes on this one and kind of just likes the slower approach. Sorry,
guy's got a podcast and a half, does he?
Yeah. He's got, his fans love him and they get mad when I talk. So they're hating this one. We're getting so many 1 stars, and it has nothing to do with you, Greg. So I think about my wrestling time when I was a kid all the time, because I think it definitely shaped me as an adult. Either, like, in the sense of, one, I never had to lose weight. I wrestled 105. Even I think in 11th grade, I was 112. Just to show you how little I was.
Yeah.
I was like 112, and I couldn't imagine being 126 because those kids were monsters, right? Like, I couldn't even imagine. And if you were past 145, you were a different human being to me. But I remember wrestling a kid, winning or lose. I don't even remember, but the kid did just something stupid where I gave up. Right. Like I could have got out of it, and I got stuck. Right. And I got on the bus, and Mr. James came and he sat next to me screaming. Screaming. That's what I think in my head, but he wasn't a screamer. He just goes, "You quit, Heffron, you quit." And then he's sat there. He's like, "Why do you quit? Why?" And then he had a so I never figured that out, but I remember my first Tonight Show. I'm sitting backstage, and they have this, like, the set looks really nice, but behind it looks super shitty. And there's a little hole that you can kind of peek out and see the audience. And I did my set 1 billion times. I was just like, this is, I got this stuff. And then I started like getting dry mouth.
Yeah.
And I started all the things when I was about to walk out there. And I literally thought about Mr. James. Right, like, "You quit, Heffron," popped into my head right before that, and then I had this quick moment of, "I'm an adult. This is stupid," and then I went out there with literally almost no nerves.
Oh, that's great.
So I think I needed to get my ass kicked, like, in all those times in high school, and I apologize for whoever wrestled after me, because you knew that you had to take your sweats off pretty quick. I think that
Yeah, my coach in college, this guy Wes Roper, it was like our freshman year. We had to wrestle Northern Iowa, and I was a freshman. I was overmatched. This guy was good. I still remember the guy's name is Pat Hogan, I think. And it was at Northern Iowa, had a big fan base, and they, it was in this small gym, and they had like a light. They turned all the lights off, and this light came down over the mat, and I just ran out of gas about middle of the second period. And I was basically laying on the mat, and stalling is a thing in wrestling for people watching. It's basically you're not making an effort to advance. You're just completely climbing up and being defensive, and they'll hit you for like a point. And then if you do it again, it's like another point, and then it's another point. I think they hit me like 4 times. And the ref at the time was like getting laughs from the audience. Like, he's a Def Jam comedian. He just goes, "Are you okay down there, son?" And the place is just laughing at me. And my coach, man, he never let me forget that. I mean, I was good. Like, my senior year, I was really good. And I mean, I'd have one bad practice. "Warren, that reminds me when you laid down at Northern Iowa." It's just when you said you thought of that guy sitting next to the bus. I mean, it's in my head all the time. I've always said, like, if I never got married, but if I did, I think does anybody want to speak their piece? "I remember when he laid down at Northern Iowa."
Wouldn't that be great? Like, because, and I'll show you a video in a second. My nephew, who's in 1st grade, started wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And I coached, so I was a way better coach than I was a wrestler.
Yeah.
Because I knew, because again, it was a mental thing and I didn't know how to. So when I was in college, I coached K through 5th grade.
Oh,
and
that's
then we
great.
did junior high for a couple years, because I think you got paid like $1 or $2 if you coach the whole season, but loved it. And then those kids went on to do really well. So they didn't get any of my horribleness. Just because I was I just choked, which is actually what your key. I just choked every time it was important. For some reason,
I think that's it's probably some. I think people know it's probably some form of OCD. Where I think I know I had OCD, and it really manifested itself when I was wrestling. I just would think about, it happened. You reminded me, like TV sets. I'll be like, I've done the thing a million times, and early in my career, I'd be like, I'm going to forget half these words, or I'm going to forget it. Yeah. No, you're not. And if you do, who cares? Don't be a robot, be a human being. But man, I have second guessed myself out of more TV sets.
It's funny with little Graham, who's not little, Graham, who's in 1st grade. You don't know what to tell him, because I think if you go to any of those meets, we're going to talk wrestling for a little bit, everybody who's watching. If you go to like a kids freestyle meet, the parents are horrific in the dumb shit that they're yelling for their kids to do. I would say if you have a kid that's wrestling, one of your best things you can do is watch.
Yeah, shut up.
So support the concession stand, eat your hot dog and your popcorn. Because your kid can't hear you.
Yeah.
You can't, because he's in, his ears are stuck in between somebody's armpits, or, one ear is, slammed against the mat. But parents yell some of the dumbest things when their kids are getting like, get out of there. Oh, really, Mom?
Yeah.
That wasn't my plan. I didn't know. I'm supposed to get out of this situation where my knee is touching my nose, right? I'm supposed to get out. I wouldn't know that. I didn't know. Please tell me more of what I'm supposed to do. So when I talked to Graham, I just, let him be, although I did get him a cool wrestling dummy for Christmas. I was just trying to explain to him, because he's in 1st grade, but it's right that I was like, just don't fish on your back. All your kids your age, they're going to flop. And if somebody is pinning you, just don't let them pin you. Like, all you have to think is just get back to your stomach. No kid knows enough to stop you from doing that. If you just think there's no way. And then I saw this, Alan, I saw this clip from a wrestling movie that I was like, this should be just your philosophy of life. Alan, do you have that clip? This is what I was trying to explain to Graham, but in better terms.
It up, right? Kyle, show the guys what you did.
It's kind of my own thing.
Well, can you share it with us?
But it's not even a move or anything.
It's okay.
Alright. Well, I just tell myself that the guy on top's trying to take my head and shove it underwater and kill me. And if I don't want to die on bottom, I have to do whatever the fuck it takes to get out.
Okay, so the move is whatever the fuck it takes, let's go. Let's work on it.
Whatever the fuck it takes, let's go, gentlemen, up.
Come on, guys.
That movie is so, those guys are such good actors, man. That's an awesome movie. That kid that kid I think was a Jersey State champ, actually, the main actor in that movie.
But I was trying to explain to Graham, like, that's all you got to do. If the kid's pinning you, just stop. Like, just literally turn to yours. But I have video of him in it. How when I sent it to Alan to play for us, it gets distorted. So when you watch it, the video is going to be weird. Graham will be I don't even know how to spell when he shows the video. I can't talk over, but you'll see Graham. I just want to show you. Just watch the first two. That's all. They're 4 seconds long. Okay. Alan, play the first one.
That's in practice.
All right. So a couple things to think. The last video, do you see a little cheat move he did? Shook the kid's hand and shot in almost immediately. Right? Like nobody, but you see how aggressive he was? I know the video was kind
great, man. No, it was fantastic. He was in on him. Yeah. That's like
he go ahead.
Oh, I mean, that for a kid that age, that's if they're aggressive, that's 99% of it.
99 point, like, so when you watch it, you kind of want to go, well, do I give him notes? Why do you get it? But he's like shot in for that double leg and that's all he thought. Well, that kid had no chance of getting out of that.
No, the kid, he was on him. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't tell him anything other than, have fun. You just, for the first, I listened to Ben Askren. He's a friend of mine. He's a MMA fighter, but he's a wrestling coach. He's been one for a long time. And his theory is like the first 4 or 5 years, the only thing we really need to do is just make sure they come back. Just make sure they
that's interesting.
Enjoy it. Like, don't worry so much about winning or losing. Just make sure they come back. Because if they're good, they'll figure that out. Show them some technique and that kid obviously has some talent, and he's like he's not afraid to get after it. That's
I know. Well, I'm responsible for taking him to his next tournament, right? And he's come second. He's done 2 tournaments. He's come second in 2. So
that's great.
I'm gonna be the guy who gets him his first medal. I'm that guy. All of a sudden, I don't have kids, so I'm a little bit more like this is like little kid fights to me. Like I have no right. Like
I've got a nephew that's getting close.
But when you see that, I want to tell him like, hey, like take your head and put it in the side and like use your head. But I think it's too much. I think that's good advice. What you said is just
get them coming back and
because they cry when they're that age. If a kid's a little too tough on them or whatever, they're little kids. They're first grade. They cry if somebody squeezes them a little too tight and stuff. So you don't want to pretend like it's 300 where you're just like toughen up, kid. And that's what a lot of parents yell. You forget that they're not getting their wallets taken.
It was when you said you showed that clip of win-win. It was funny because he says like I just imagine the guy is holding me underwater. Oh, our coach used to say that to us when I was in college, and I think too much. Maybe for a wrestler when I was in college, but he was like, just imagine the guy is holding your head underwater. And if he was doing that, you would find a way to get out. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I would, man.
Right? Yeah.
I'd be like, I think maybe I'd drown. I'm tired.
Yeah, that's, I did that as a wrestler a million times. I was like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm not gonna, the team will pick up the points later on in the lineup. So how is that though? So if you take all that type of stuff to what we do now as comics, right? So for some reason, I folded under pressure from, 9th grade through 12th, but then I chose a career that literally puts me in that type of pressure almost on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if I'm chasing deep. Like, how do you think that you've overcome any of that, or what advice? Do you know what I'm trying to say? If I was,
I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, for a comedy, it's just do it a bunch of times, and obviously, after a while,
you'd almost use the same theory that you would give first grader wrestlers to new stand-ups. Have fun. Just keep going.
Yeah, just keep doing it, and it's fun. And at some point you get competent. And I don't think I ever get nervous, unless it's like a TV thing where it's like you only have this 5 minutes to make it work. But if you and I are going to do an hour on a show tomorrow night, I kind of go in now going like, I know a billion tricks. If this is going to go bad, it was going to go bad anyway. Like there was no way that I was going to save it. Like I know too many tricks now to get them in an hour that if I don't get them, well then this thing was predestined a long time ago for me to eat it. And I do eat it every now and then. But
what do you feel like when you're eating it now? Because I had a show recently and I blame it on a little bit of ring rust in the sense of because of COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do 35 weeks a year for 30, right? So I was just every week I was doing 10 hours on stage every single, and then now it just, sporadic. And then I would do, kind of before COVID, I would do 1 billion corporate events was kind of my thing. That was kind of the lane I was in. And then I would do clubs just to kind of work on material that I would do at the corporate stuff. But I was in Cleveland at Hilarities maybe a week ago or whenever it blends together, where I had a table that was difficult.
Yeah.
Like they were hecklers, but it was maybe it was ring rust, but it was the kind of the heckling where it wasn't coming from a place that the hecklers were just trying to be funny. It was confrontational.
Yeah. I got to tell you, John, I've seen you enough, and I hear you all the time on the radio. Like, I have a hunch that it wasn't ring rust. I have a hunch that that was going to happen that night, man, because you're too good. Like, it's in you. I have a feeling like there's some people that if somebody wants to ruin a comedy show, they can. Yeah. That's the thing. No matter, it's like, well, you're just not good enough to handle it. No, if they want to completely ruin it and they don't they can ruin a comedy show. Yeah. I told ring rust.
This story, just to let, I won't retell the story, but just to let you know, the woman who was part of the group, I don't know how old she was. She was probably 30 something, but she looked 60. So she had a choice. Do I wear my Marlboro jacket that I got free with points, or do I put on a stained Eeyore sweatshirt? And I have a theory. If you're a grown woman and you're wearing clothes from the Disney store, there's gonna be some difficulties.
I thought an Eeyore sweatshirt was like code for something that I didn't know. She actually had a sweatshirt with Eeyore on.
Just Eeyore stained. You know exactly right. Like, it's not even anyway. So they were just tools, but I just remember being in that pocket where before I was always just trying to please the audience and try to keep the show together.
Yeah.
But just my level of give a kind of fucks where I literally would just stop and let silence, and I would just stare. And instead of trying to be all the like trick guy, which I had this weird moment where I looked at the crowd. I'm like, you guys aren't comfortable with silence. Sorry. You don't know what it's uncomfortable. I go, maybe this is the new way is not saying anything. And then that table literally would just start talking to each other. And then, so the whole place was silent. Yeah. And then I was talking so far over their head, or they couldn't even, I was just like, man, I never had kids, but I looked at them like, you probably have 5 of them that are just breeding you, and that's going to get passed down.
Oh, you think, man, when somebody is heckling or they're talking to the show, my mind thinks the worst things about those people. I mean, and it's thank God, and I do say them out loud sometimes, and I regret it. But most of the time I don't. But like, I immediately, they are my enemies for life. It's not fair. But man, I was doing a show Saturday night. You just reminded me of that Disney Eeyore sweatshirt. This guy, he was actually a really good guy. He was in the front row, but he had on like a Kennedy Center sweatshirt and a Kennedy Center hat.
Oh,
and I was like, the Kennedy Space Center, like the Kennedy Space Center. And he said something. He was a really nice guy. He was really, really cool guy. And he wasn't interrupting the show or anything, but I was talking to him, and it was just like, sir, did you go? When did you go? Like, if you went yesterday, I get it. You're still excited. He was like, oh yeah, I just went. I was like, when? He goes, August. I was like, no, man, you can't wear, if it was just a sweatshirt or just a hat. I'm like, okay, man. But you're a Kennedy Senator like fanatic at a show 6 months later. And then there was a girl in the front row who was stunning. This girl was stunning, and she was on something, man. I don't know what it was. I don't know much about drugs, but I was trying to like let it go because she wasn't that disturbing. But her and this guy, I'm 30 minutes in, and I'm just finally, everybody's like watching. I go, all right, guys. there's a live sex show going on in the front row, and I need you to just go ahead and call attention to it. Like this is happening. There is a live sex show.
I've seen that and that almost bugs me more than hecklers, where for some reason there's a certain type of person where they're on a date and they're in the front row where they make out a lot, they kiss they do just annoying shit.
This girl was everything, man. It was insane, and she was attractive again. So I was like, hard not to watch, and then.
And everybody from the whatever side, the other side of the room, left side, is all keyed in on that.
Glued to it. They want to see how I'm going to handle it,
So I've had people come up to me after shows going, hey, we just took ecstasy, or they would say we took mushroom. I'm like, why would you go to a place where your job is to sit quietly and just watch somebody talk? I can't think of a bigger hell on any drug that was what you were doing.
I'm so naive when it comes to the drug culture, but I was like, hey man, I think she's on something. I've learned enough from people be like, that wasn't booze. And this nurse just walked by. This lady just walked by as I'm saying that. She goes, I'm a nurse. It's Molly. Trust me, it's Molly. She was like this, but like, it's Molly. I know it's Molly. I can tell you for sure it's Molly. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, good. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It was.
I've had like the biggest like that type of hecklers I got. I was at Comedy Works in Denver, which I'm at, and at the end of this month.
You're at the group South of people, one, right?
Yeah, the yuppie one.
Yeah, I heard you talking about. The place is insanely nice. That area,
so good. Just Wendy and everything. They were right next to me at the Comedy Works downtown Denver. You almost have a table of people on stage with you. Like they're on to the right. There's a table that is right on stage. And there's people that were just obnoxious as everything. And I started talking to them, and their big claim to fame was that they were all swingers. They're like, we're all swingers. And I was so mad. I'm like, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Literally, here's the deal. I was telling them, I go, here's the deal with me. I don't care about your sexuality in a sense of I wouldn't judge it. But I literally don't care. Yeah. So that means I don't need to hear whatever it is. If you're a guy that bangs a lot of chicks, I don't need to hear it. If you're like that, that's on you. So you don't get extra. I don't care that you guys are swingers. And I go, and you look different than all the porn I've seen because you all are kind of ugly. Like, so
I've never seen an attractive, never seen one.
So
never, not one.
Yeah. So then
I've never seen one that's really under 40 either. It's like,
whatever perception you have is when your parents got HBO Cinemax and you're judging it from when you were like 18 and then the guy stood up and then he wanted to get right because now I literally called everybody ugly. And so I make fun of the woman in Eeyore at Disney stores, right? So that to me is a sign on how you're going to be. This guy had a dress shirt with his cuffs his cuffs folded, and it had a bunch of designs, and that's also a look.
Yeah,
like if you're a 50-year-old plus guy and your cuffs, when you fold them out, have a different design than the rest of the shirt, you're a type to me.
Dan, John, I gotta tell you, man, I bought some shirts at Johnston and Murphy, and I didn't know they had the thing, man. And I folded the cuffs up. I'm like, oh shit. Now I'm the cuff guy, man.
Dude, Johnson and Murphy gets you because every time I'm running through the airport, I'm like, I got to piss. I want to Cinnabon, but look at that shirt, or they have a deal on shoes.
Yeah, they got some good stuff, man. Well, but I know I can't be that cuff guy, man. I know exactly what you're saying. I can't be that guy. I think you got to be kind of tall to be the cuff guy. You got to be the cuff guy, but the guy who wears the dress shirts with the cuffs, I'm also going to go, you have jeans on from the buckle. So the buckle, you have jeans from the buckle, which means there's going to be a French. I don't know what that design is. It's like a fleur de lis. It's a fleur de lis, John.
You have shit on your back pockets, and I'm just from I know I have a backwards hat, and I get it. You can pick me out wrong all day, but I don't wear anything on my jean back pockets. There's no design.
Yeah, no
There's
design.
None.
Yeah.
It's I quote Run DMC, Calvin Klein's no friend of mine. Don't want nobody's name on my behind. Like there's nothing. So I know, but those dudes wear that, and then if you go all the way down to their feet, they have slip-on dress shoes.
Yeah.
It's so.
Man, I think I tried that for a little while.
I have to, dude. You're gonna be able to find me in all of this stuff. There's on my Wikipedia page, which I don't know how to. I don't know how to change the bio. I don't nothing. I'm wearing an Affliction shirt, so I can't say shit. I can't say nothing about anybody. There's a shirt with me with the exact logo that I just told you I hate when guys wear jeans like that I judge you. I'm wearing that exact shirt.
Yeah.
So we're all hypocritical.
Yeah, sure. We all okay. All right. Yeah.
So do you think as just your age, with your wrestling background, if you were to get in a scrap with, not that you're a scrap guy, not like putting this out there, you wouldn't. Do you think you would have a go-to move that you probably wouldn't even, if I asked you this question, wouldn't even be able to tell me that? It's just somewhere in your subconscious.
Yeah, man.
You think at your age now, would you tie up with the guy?
No.
Would you shoot in? Would you bring him closer? Would you arm drag him into you? Because the arm drag, I'm such a huge fan.
Yeah, it's a great move.
With the what do you think?
Well, if you don't mind, I'll tell you a quick story.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was living in New York for about 4 years, and I moved there when I was like 43 or something. So it was 10 years ago, and it's kind of an old age to be moving to New York. But I was out walking one day in the East Village, and that'll say you something right there. Like I was walking, I was getting on my walk as an elderly man, and this like crazy guy just goes, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "It's nothing." I just kind of ignored him, And then he I went about another 10 yards, and he goes, "Hey man, what are you looking at?" And I turned around, and I said, like, "Nothing, buddy. Go." I said something I probably shouldn't have, but he sprints up and just jacks me right in the face, man. Just like
punches you
right in the face.
Fist.
Yeah, closed fist, like a right to the face. And for about 3 seconds, when you're in the city and you haven't lived there for long, there is sort of this feeling of helplessness that I don't know why it's in me. I mean, so for about 3 seconds, I was like, I don't know what I should do. I haven't done this in a long time.
Right.
And then like it kicked in. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, you literally practice fighting every day for 20 years. So, and I just reflexively, man, I shot a single leg to like the right side, sort of an outside single to the right side. I got it right here, and he just went right down. Like, he sucked, John. This guy would not have made it past districts. Like he was, he wasn't good. And then I was on top of him, and I'm like, thinking I'm going to kill him. And then I realized this is a heroin addict that has no idea where he is. Like this guy, he had one punch, and it wasn't a bad punch, but every bit of energy he had over the last 7 years was put into that punch. And after then he was just like lethargic. And then I realized I'm beating up on a heroin addict. And so I stop, and I'm like, just go, man, just get out of here or something. And this dude, nobody says anything. It's like, it's New York City. Nobody cares at all. I mean, people are walking by like, oh yeah, it looks like Larry's losing today. Nothing, man. There's like, we go like up against this deli, and I can see these two Chinese guys that own the deli, like talking to each other. It almost looked like they were betting on the fight,
Right. Like you're on the show Bum Fight or
whatever. Yeah. Like I pick crazy guy number 2, So finally, nobody says anything except this one dude walks up. He goes, "Yo, dog." He goes, he has a cell phone. He's taping it. He goes,
"You're gonna be
"Yo, dog,
world star.
Why he hit you? Why he hit you?" I'm like, "He's crazy, man. He's crazy." He goes, "You a champ, dog. You a champ, man. You a champ." And I just left. And I was like completely dumbfounded. I mean, I grew up in the suburbs, so like that stuff.
Yeah.
If that happened, it would be on the news. And I called like a couple of people. I called like I called my brother who lived in New Jersey at the time. He's like, just the East Coast, man. I'm like, the East Coast? He goes, yeah, it's just that stuff's going to happen. And then I called Mike Vecchione, who's a great comic and a buddy of mine, and also used to wrestle. And he was like, he was like, yeah, man, he'd been in New York for a while. He loved it. And then another one of my buddies like, dude, you got to get that video, man. That's going to be, you're going to break because that video, this is going to be your break. I'm like, no, dude, I did a Comedy Central special. I saw it, dude. It was just okay, man. This video is what's going to break you, man. This is the thing.
Yeah, you're double edging too. I had, I'm looking right now. Oh, is it not in here? Hold on. So I had something. Hold on. I never not have these, dude. I know this isn't great. Okay, I have it. Oh, and I jumped everything. So I had a story. So my little story like that is, and I'll share this with the audience. Can I get in trouble? I can't get in trouble for anything. So do you see this?
Yeah. What is it? It's a pen?
It's a pen.
Yeah.
It's a pen. That's all. I'm going to just refer to it as my pen. It's a pen. Okay. I'm a writer. So you see this end, right? You put pens in jeans, and then this end will stand out there, right? Because your thing. But you notice this part is glass break. So I literally have practiced with this in this hand where we hit ribs and we go and
you do the MMA stuff, right?
And I'll go like, it's from my old Krav days where it's just, you can hold it, you can defend yourself, and then it'll get you, I always say it adds 50 pounds to you.
Wow.
Right? It's not strong enough, but I have it on stage usually with me, and it's very hideable, right? So I'm walking in Philly.
You could have leveled that chick in the Eeyore sweatshirt without the pen. You don't even need the pen.
Yeah, I don't even need the pen. So I was walking. I was at Helium in Philly. This was years and years and years ago. You have like a 5 or 6 block gauntlet. Kind of, if you're walking late at night, it gets a little, because there's no buildings, like everything's closed. And this was even this is pre-pandemic. There were still, all the buildings were kind of boarded up until you did a thing. So I was walking, and it was just me, and there were two gentlemen were across the street, and I kind of just looked, and no big deal. But I pulled this out, and I had this, I'm going to stand ahead. I was walking like this. Right. So I already have it here. If I got in trouble, if anybody was in front of me, I just figured the thing, but I'm just walking home. It was cold. They crossed the street, and there's no reason to cross the street. There was nothing. You're not buying. There's nothing open. There's no reason where you're like, we need to cross here. Right. Jaywalking and stuff. So then my heart started going, and I'm just like, oh man, this is it. Right. So then they're coming at me. And they're both 100 times bigger than me. And I was like, right now, do I gotta? So I have this, and I'm like, this dumb little pen, I'm not. So my heart's racing, and I literally have no spit in my mouth. It's just, everything's dry. And my heart's to the point where I'm like, I'm going to have a heart attack even before they get to me. So I cross the street, right? Because that's also a move people forget about, is just literally getting off the X and leaving the situation is also very helpful. So I cross the street, right? So I don't care if they're going to yell anything at me. It's my safety over your feelings. That's how I run life. So I walk across the street and walk a little bit more, and they cross again.
Oh, now it's
So now we're doing a zigzag thing. So I'm like, this is. So do I speed up? Because you kind of see the lights, but we're in this no man's land. So they ended up like pride or whatever kicks in, where I'm like, I'm not crossing. I'm not running. I'm just going to walk. They end up crossing and are walking straight towards me. So I'm like, motherfucker, they don't even, right? So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, well, that one credit card's max. So when they try to use that one first, they're going to get jammed. Right?
You're
like,
3 steps in after they beat my ass.
Yeah. So they got up to me, and out of sheer fear, I don't even know that this wasn't a battle plan. Right. So I don't know anything about anything, but I was in Krav Maga for a long time. I wrestled, but there was too many. There were two of them. Nothing. I was just here's my wallet. But when they got to me, I touched my ear, and I went, "They're good." That's all I said. I go, "They're good." And then they both looked, and I go, "They're fine." I go, "Gentlemen, not the place to be right now." That's all I said. I go, "They're good, gentlemen, not the place to be right now." And what happened was, and I just kept walking. I just literally walked. I just kept walking. And my hair, like, if you see my hair and it might squeak, right? It like, I look like an undercover cop. My hair is short. I look like, why would he be on this corner anyway? I look like a cop, and I just walked. And I got a little way, and I kind of like looked back, and nobody was following me. And what I accidentally did to them was, there's this thing called a pattern interrupt, where if people have a script in their head of what's going to happen, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and they run that play in their head. So if somebody's going to grab your purse, they're watching you, and they're thinking, I'm going to grab her purse. I'm going to get out of the car. I'm going to walk over there. She's going to be nervous. I'm going to grab the purse. They have the script already written. Yeah. But when you pattern interrupt and do something that's not part of the script, it throws people in that. So if I ask you a question, what was the name of your elephant? And then I kept talking like this, your brain cannot not answer a question.
Right.
So if you lob a question to somebody, even if it means nothing, your brain will try to find that answer. Look how dumb I look with my hair, my hat like this. Your brain will try to answer that question. So I do that at comedy clubs. If the audience is weird, with Eeyore chick, woman, I did do this. I will look at the crowd and I'll go, "Do you guys smell burnt popcorn?" No matter what. Let's say I need the mood to change and I want to move on. I always go, "Do you guys smell burnt popcorn?" And everybody, no matter what I was talking about, if I was yelling at a heckler or there was a thing, everybody forgets what just happened. And literally, you see nostrils going like that. And I go, "Oh, that's weird." And then I move on to the very next thing. Because what it does, it's
very strategic, man.
It snaps you out of that thing. So, like, if you go to a McDonald's, and you know how they're always like, for the life of me, I can't get a hamburger with ketchup only. It's impossible. It's, for some reason, there's always cheese, and they go, "Well, you didn't want cheese?" It's a thing. Yeah. So if I don't feel somebody's paying attention, I always like at McDonald's or something, like, I'll say just a weird question. I'm like, "Do you guys have showers?" And when they go, "What? What the fuck?" Then you have their brain, because you
This is great, man. I can use that. Yeah, that's really good.
I'm gonna fix my head. So my buddy who used to do mental, Andy Murphy used to help a lot of MMA fighters. He would show them that trick. So if they had somebody in a clinch and you're holding, and you're, as let's say I'm fighting you, Greg, and I'm holding, and you're like, I'm holding you in your brain. I'm like, "Well, I need him to move this way. Then I'm going to throw a knee, or I'm going to shoot in on him." I have to pattern interrupt your thinking. So like when I have your ear, I could go, have you pet my cats? Right? Even if you're thinking, I want to kill John, you're going to think for at least a second, what the fuck, cats? What are you talking? And then that's when you can then, you know what I mean? Like do something. So I completely.
So these guys, what happened when you did the Secret Service thing, man?
They didn't know. They literally, they're like, "Why is this dude who looks like a horrible guy on The Wire, like the first guy who would be killed on The Wire, why is he on this random street corner in Philly?" And I just kept walking. Yeah,
you like Presbolewski, the guy.
Well, my friend Kevin Lewis, like, he always told me, like, he does these seminars called "Get Off the X," which is, you know, the X is the bad point.
I've heard of that guy. Yeah.
So what I do was I just kept walking, and instead of just kind of stopping and then walking. I just kept walking and go, they're fine. They're fella's not a good. And they had to process that. And that was enough time, you know, for them, which I want to start, like, I think for security reasons, I want to start selling. And I just now thought of this, like fake earpieces that, so you see the wire go from your ear, but like really like old phone wire that goes down.
Yeah. The twirly thing. Yeah.
So they just go, what? That's enough of a visual cue to confuse somebody to go, they're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. Man, I was scared though. And then I made it to like the corner where there was like some bars or some, like there was enough people where I just needed like one block.
That's great.
Yeah. The only other time that happened, I was in Washington, D.C., where Jon Reep is. Jon Reep is in Washington, D.C., 21st to the 20-something. Jon Reep, Comedy Loft. When I was at the Improv, and I walked across the street, and there was like a donut place. And I had like a box that had maybe 3 donuts in it. I was going to take back to my room. And these guys came towards me. And one dude was like 6'4", and the other dude was 7'10", and the other guy was whatever. The dude snatched the donuts from my hand. And I just looked, and I had a moment of like, this is what it's like just being in the woods if you're a smaller animal. He gets the donuts. It was one of those things. No pen, no fake trickery, no double.
All he wanted was the donuts, though?
Just took it. And he said something like, what are you going to do? I'm like, nothing. There, you know, you win. I'm 140, I'm 150 pounds. It's COVID now. I'm like up to 180 something. But yeah, that's funny.
Wow.
Those were random. So don't forget our sponsors is Crazy Tack Pen and my fake earpiece. And then Greg is going to have
the pen, man.
What?
I've never heard of the pen.
Dude, the pen? You got to get the pen. Look at this thing. It makes it through TSA. Like this is just in my computer bag because it's not a knife, and I can sit there with my thumb all day long, but it's just enough. Have
you ever hit anybody in practice with it?
We used to get ribs. We used to get a thing of ribs and hang them.
Oh, really? Like Rocky?
And then you would stick them. So you'd go and you would do stuff. It's like a shank, like you'd practice and like hit bone, but you'd be able to literally physically put it through something.
Krav Maga's that's the Israeli army stuff.
Yeah. I was in 100 years ago when I was younger, but it was fun. Wow. You know. So where are you? Let's talk about hey, you guys smell burnt popcorn? Did you have? You're a very
strategic thinker. I'm much too reactive. I would have never thought to do something like that, man.
I'm gonna look at the comments, but we don't even really have that many, which means I don't reply to Brenda. Hey. Yeah, everybody on the comments is just everybody wears John. That's all. That's all they're saying. Not this is a cool random episode where John Heffron gets to run things. There's not that.
Sorry, guys.
You want to see where Reep is? Go to johnreep.com. He's at Comedy Loft. Then he's at the Funny Bone Albany, Kansas City Improv. I think that's the one that's got like an 80s arcade next to it. If you live in Kansas City, there's Richmond, Virginia, Liberty Township Funny Bone. That's
a good one, man. That's
within 2 hours of these places. Yeah. I like that one way better than the City Walk Funny Bone. The only thing I don't like about the Liberty Funny Bone in Liberty Township, Ohio, is there's no cell reception because you go in the basement. So
it's true. Yeah.
So what else is going on with let me look at you. Let me tell people where you are, dude.
Do you think they care? I don't know.
They're gonna. We're gonna make them care. At the January 20th, you are at. I like to have music on when I do this. You want to see Greg Warren? Yes, you do. Listen, we're starting to start a comedy coalition. You should. He's a good guy. His stand-up's hilarious. You were literally just on, I think last year on Sirius XM. I heard you.
Oh, good.
Matter of fact, I'll show you the picture to show you that I'm not bullshitting you. But You are at Spokane, Washington at Spokane Comedy Club, January 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
John, you know the significance of Spokane, Washington with this podcast. That's where Vision Quest takes place.
Spokane, Washington? I did not know that.
Yeah, I've never been there.
I was trying to get a buddy of mine on, Tom Frank, who I think I'm one of my old podcasts. We broke down Vision Quest, by the way, and he was a wrestler. He wrestled in Boston. He broke down the scoring of Vision Quest and how off it was. That Loudon actually lost the match because he should have got there was a technical, but he just broke it down and it was so.
Again, shoot.
It was so good.
The score didn't matter. He pin shoot, didn't he? He pin shoot.
Oh,
yeah, your buddy's wrong, man. He pin shoot.
I don't remember the notes, but there's some.
There could have been some scoring errors. That's genius.
There's some scoring. I think the one before he wrestled shoot. Then whatever the scoring of the thing, I think the guy got either escaped and they gave him 2 points for the escape. There's a scoring mess up that should have ended the whole thing. Yeah. Just like LaRusso wasn't a black belt. He shouldn't have been in that tournament.
Oh, was that it? Were you supposed to be a black belt to be in that tournament?
I think to be in the All Valley.
I gotcha.
He wasn't a black belt. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I hope they don't go back and strip him of the title.
I think they should. You're at the Dayton, Ohio Funny Bone in February. Yeah. The place is still, can I ask you this question, not being shitty? Yeah, I'm a little mad at most of the Funny Bones right now, but I'm not being crappy. I didn't know that place is still open?
Yeah, well, it wasn't.
Okay.
Until just recently. It stayed closed during most of COVID and after COVID. It was like the last one in the chain to reopen. So my feeling towards the Dayton Funny Bone, which is a great place. I don't know who's managing it now or anything like that, but everybody was always cool. But I have a weird thing with Dayton, and you are there the 11th through 12th. So I got Bell's palsy a couple of years ago. So I just lost. I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my whole face was paralyzed and I had a New Year's date. So I got Bell's palsy over Christmas. I had a New Year's date at Dayton and nobody wanted me to cancel it, but I was literally my lips were like this. Right. Wow. So I do the date and I tell everybody, whoever's featuring, I'm like, you have to do 40 minutes. This was New Year's Eve. I'm going to go up for, I don't even know. I don't know what to do right now. And I didn't talk to any of the managers. It was a weird weekend. I went on stage and my mouth was so like this. I had to pull my cheek back so you could hear me or the whole thing would be like this. I had to pull my cheek back and then I took my elbow and I said it like this. And the second I walked on stage, the woman in the front row goes, "His face is fucked up," was the first thing I heard when I got on stage. So
Jesus,
I'm doing my show like this, dude. I'm like this. I'm like, so what's I got Bell's palsy. I said it, but I had no jokes for it yet because it literally just happened.
Yeah.
So after every joke, I would do a joke and I go, I'm just going to get off stage. And I go, just do one more joke. And I kept just doing that. But so you ever have an audience where you go, this was a special moment and it was maybe a weird or small crowd, but it was still awesome? Those shows weren't that. Nobody gave a shit. They're like, it's New Year's Eve. We just spent $30 a ticket. We want a comic that has a face that works. There was no way to power through it. There was nothing. So I think of that every time I think of Dayton, Ohio, which you're there 11th through the 12th. And then the 17th, you're in Lowell, Arkansas at the Grove Entertainment Complex.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. You should go. If you haven't been there, you should go there, man.
Comedy Addict in Bloomington, Indiana. Never been there.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Pittsburgh, the Arcade Comedy Theater. Look at all these new ones. Des Moines, so and also go to gregwarrencomedy.com. And you have an album people can, not on Spotify, but you can probably find your stuff on Pandora or your website.
Yeah.
Is the Des Moines, Iowa one, is that the one? I performed there and then it was when
was Paul there?
There was it was when MMA oh my god, I'm having such a brain fart, where all the UFC champions were fight Banendorf, Indiana. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I don't know as much about MMA as you do.
But there were a lot of wrestlers that came out of it.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of wrestlers in Des Moines. Yeah.
But yeah, so I train anyway. So yeah, you got a lot. Go to gregwarren.com to see your thing.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
So lastly, before we go, because we've done an hour 10, have you ever sold tickets online, like scalp tickets, or bought tickets to an event and then sold them?
No, I don't think I have, man. I usually use Damone from Fast Times when
That's what I feel like. So
I don't care if she comes, stays, lays, or prays. Toes are still tapping.
So yeah, that movie's a little Me Too-ish. So here's what happened, and tell me what I should do, and we'll kind of end it on this. So months and months ago, 5 months ago, I bought tickets for my wife to see Rick Springfield in Atlanta. That was her first concert. Wow. It was my first concert.
Man, I would like to see that. His thing on Sirius is really good.
Yeah. The working class. So
yeah, it's really good, man.
I don't care what anybody says.
No, I love it.
So he was performing with the Atlanta Orchestra at the Atlanta Opera or whatever. So I bought tickets months ago. The wife can't go. We can't go, but I'm performing at the Punchline in Atlanta February 17th through the 19th. But the only reason why I took that weekend was because I knew I was going to be there on Wednesday to see Rick Springfield. So I can't go. So I have these tickets, but they are row AA, seat 10 and 11. Literally front row, dead center.
Wow.
Can't, right? So then I went online to see what these tickets are going for, and they're going for a crap ton.
Yeah.
Literally a crap ton, where I'm like, nobody would even, if the Beatles came back, I don't think anyone would pay this. So like no one, so I don't know what to do with the tickets. So I went to a website where you can resell your tickets, and I listed them for what all the other things were. And then I laid in bed and felt guilty. Wow. That I was trying to, because tickets were literally going for $1,000. I'm like, no, a ticket. I go, no. So then I went and I kept lowering them. Like almost every 6 hours, I would lower the tickets by maybe $200 to go. I don't need, like, I'm not gonna, I know what I paid for them. And if I just get my money back and whatever. So now they're sitting on a website, and I don't know if I just don't go to the show, if I give them away to somebody, or if I try to sell them at top dollar or in my charitable. What was
it on StubHub or whatever, or like one of those places?
Yeah. So it's legal. I lost the thing. So it's what is it?
Sell it, man. Sell them.
StubHub. That's where they're on.
If you know what, if you want to feel like you're doing something nice, sell them for $100 less than everybody else is selling them for.
Okay.
Yeah, don't give them away, and don't sell them at cost.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Alan, wait, hold on.
Dude, that's Valentine's Day weekend, right?
That's what somebody said to me. They go, somebody's gonna
some girl from the 80s is gonna buy his boyfriend or husband is gonna buy those tickets, man. Yeah.
Alan, are you there still? I know we went long, but I don't want to, you know how my brain works.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can pull up that concert?
Sure.
Is that a pain? And then we'll wrap it up. I apologize.
That's fine.
Everybody, Jon Reep
some girl that I went to high school with is going to, she wants to see Rick Springfield.
Go to StubHub and go Rick Springfield, Atlanta, February 16th or 17th. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have it here in a second.
Yeah. And then just click on like orchestra seating, or no, pit left, and just see what some of the prices are. If you want to, I don't know if you can show it to us and us comment on it, but dude, why am I so guilty? Like I haven't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel a lot of guilt for a lot of things, but this one is, you're way off, man.
Is that Warren Zevon? Who do you have behind you?
Warren Zevon. Yeah.
Glass sandwich. Remember that on Letterman? That's what he said. Enjoy all your sandwiches.
Is that him that said that?
He said that.
I didn't know that. Man.
He said that. No.
Yeah.
We lost that one. Okay.
Yeah. So do not give away those tickets, John. Somebody's
Okay.
going to be thrilled.
I got it. So their stage, go. What section is that? Orchestra. Is there a pit section?
I'm really impressed with this
Is there like
technology on this podcast.
Oh, wait, price per ticket? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I got to lower mine because I'm not.
I
seeing
can
it.
try by zone. Let me try zone first. Hold on.
Go. Yeah, we're not. Yeah. It'd be like zone 3. Reset filters.
I don't
Just
know.
go to like.
I mean, you would be in this section here, section 2.
Yeah,
right?
look at that.
So
Orchestra. No, it's row.
So you've got row A. They don't have any row A's listed.
Go. Well, it's my tickets would be for sale. So click on the 3. Click on the 3. Okay. Orchestra. Nah. Row M. 140 each. I don't know, man. Go click
John,
on
did
two
you
tickets.
put them? Did you actually put them on Grubhub? Because that's a very different.
That's where they are. Yeah.
It's
They're on.
actually
Actually,
a different site. Yeah.
click on Alan. Just real quick. Just click on 2 tickets. You want 2 tickets? Yeah. Click on that, and then not 175 price per ticket. Like, yeah. Just okay. Just click filter now. Yeah. Just click filter. I just want to see. Reset filters.
The highest one they've got listed here is 165 each. That's row B.
Man, you got to pay more than 165 to see Rick Springfield Valentine's Day weekend.
Okay.
This is a shakedown.
All right. So I don't even see my tickets listed. That's why I'm not selling them.
Yeah, I think you went on Grubhub, man. It's
This
totally
is
different
Augusta,
site.
Georgia, right? Augusta, Georgia?
No, Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Well, there you go. They didn't have Augusta, Georgia, Atlanta listed.
Yeah, man. Augusta prices are nobody pays for anything in Augusta except for the Masters, man. What are you doing?
All right. I
right.
saw,
Well, then-
look, when
so
I
go-
said Rick Springfield, okay, Atlanta Symphony, is that the one
Yes.
Yeah.
Click on that. Sorry,
All
sorry,
right.
Greg.
My
We're
bad.
A lot of these listeners are thinking John was lying, man.
Yeah. No, we're gonna do this. So then, okay, so orchestra pit left. Click on that. What are some of these prices?
Oh, look
Okay,
at there.
So one, that's not me, by the way. $1,300. Okay. And then the good values are 142, 142. And then see that. Okay. I'm going to share it with you, Greg. Do you see that 350?
That's you?
Those are mine. Row AA.
And people are trying to
Look
charge
it. Row B.
this son of a bitch is undercutting you up there for 142.
Yeah, look at that, bro. But you're 2
Those are
rows
row
ahead of
Cs.
that person.
Yeah, it's this
Like-
guy. That's like the guy that in the condo community that sells the thing for less than he paid for it.
So what do
Guy's
I do?
killing
What price would you try to sell him for? I'd give him to a fan or something.
What did you pay for him?
Honestly, I paid. It was like 150 each.
You know what, man? I now
That'd be a good thing to do.
here's the thing, man. Now I think we're in the territory of when you thought maybe you're gonna get 1,000 for each of them, I'd be like, sell them. But now, do it for a fan. You'll feel better about it, and you'll have a fan for life or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Do some sort of giveaway
I'll
on
just give it
Friday
away.
night. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll make them go to Rick Springfield, and then I'll tell them your only thing is you have to plug the crap out of my dates at the punchline that weekend. You got to be my Atlanta mayor and
There you go.
spokesperson to try to get 10 people to show
The
up.
person. I thought you were trying to get Springfield to plug the dates, man. Which I'm all for too. But
Yeah. Okay. That's
think
good.
you do it.
You just set me off. I'm not going to sell them. I'm going to take them off here.
yeah, I mean, for $300, that's worth the promotion there, and you'll make somebody really happy.
All right, dude. Is there anything? I appreciate you being on.
Yeah,
I know
enjoyed
John
it, man.
thing,
Yeah, it's
you
a
were
lot of fun.
scheduled anyway. You didn't bail on me.
Do
Other
we have
people
like
would've
is there an outro, like a 80s video outro, 80s Tron outro, like you guys have the intro?
We don't do outros anymore because we had a big meeting and
Okay.
John doesn't like outros. So we just play this.
Come on, Reep.
Oh no,
I
there
really-
is. Well, there is. Here's what we do. We do have an outro, I think. So what happens is we say goodbye. There's a video,
Yeah.
You're still live. So what you do is make a weird pose and then we go back. You'll see what I mean. So we're going to end the show now, but you're live until we're not live. And I say, dude, we're done. Okay. So that's what keep in mind. This is the Heffron and Reep show. Make sure you go to heffronandreep.com. If you're watching this on my Facebook page, click on all my videos. I'll explain that later. I need more video time watched on my Facebook page for something. So just start clicking on random crapola. This has been the Heffron and Reep show. John will be back next week. You can listen to him on Country-ish. This is Greg Warren. Go to GregWarrenComedy.com to get all this merch, tour, keynote stuff, whatever. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Since you love the Heffron and Reep show, please go to iTunes and let them know. Rank the show and leave a comment. We don't care what you write, you know. They, Heffron and Reep, have low self-esteem. So please validate them by ranking them and making them seen. So no matter what you do,